Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House, has been doing great work on television, way ahead of the curve in analyzing this 2016 presidential race. But Obama got into the Indian symbol, Harry Reid, all these Democrats piled on, and now the Native Americans say, basically, butt out. Newt Gingrich joins us now. Newt, how are you? Good to talk to you.
Well, I'm doing great, but, I mean, you missed the whole point. Those people who told you they didn't care,
yeah,
they're not Indians.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
By definition. Just as Clarence Thomas is by definition not black.
Well,
because if Clarence Thomas were black, he'd be liberal. Since he's not liberal, he can't be black because ideology defines race and gender. And therefore, Clarence Thomas is apparently a hidden white. Apparently, all of those Indians who gave the wrong answer aren't real Indians. Because real Indians would understand that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton are always right, and therefore their job is to parrot them.
You know what I think, Newt, is that this is really connected to the Trump phenomenon. People are just rejecting this political correctness. People are smart enough, most people, I think, are smart enough to see, look, I'm not interested in being a victim. I don't want to be your victim. I don't want to be your victim of the day or the week or the decade. I just want this economy to work again. Government should work for the people, not against the people. And I think there's really a connection here. The political correctness garbage that Trump has been talking about on the stump for many months now, I think people are just fed up. I really do.
Well, I think we may be at the edge of a revolution where common sense replaces correctness. And that will have a stunning ripple effect through the entire society. As I think you know, I'm an Emory alum, and recently Emory students were terrified by having Trump 2016 written in chalk on a sidewalk, and they were so terrified they wrote the president of the university saying that they had lost their sense of safety at Emory because this had been written. And the president, who's apparently totally out of touch with reality, wrote back and said he sympathized with them. He wanted them to have a safe space, and Emory would provide group therapy for people who had been traumatized by Trump 2016 being written in chalk. And I mean, you watch that stuff and you think to yourself, people actually paid money to go to an institution that is idiotic, and that permeates American culture right now.
And everyone's afraid of actual debate, like real ideas, debating ideas. So now the never thinkers, I call the NeverTrumpers the never thinkers. Now the never thinkers, they're still onto the personal attacks on Trump. Trump's stupid. They don't like his hair. He's a goofball. He's not conservative. But nobody wants to debate the two issues, or two or three issues really, that are at the cornerstone of his candidacy. Number one, of course, is better trade deals and globalization, whether it's been a net positive for the United States or it's been troublesome in the way we've done these deals, like because so many of these so-called conservatives just think if anything's called a trade deal, you can never change it. And then, of course, on immigration, whether that's been handled well. And they just don't want to debate things. And they'd rather just pronounce and be emotionally invested. And I think the substantive debate, it's about time we had the real definitive conversation about these big, big issues.
I think that's exactly right. And I think you can go down each one of them. And what's really stunning is that the facts are pretty consistently on Trump's side. I mean, the emotion and the hysteria are on the anti-Trump side. I was asked this morning, Hillary said something idiotic, and I was on Fox and Friends, and they said, what's your reaction? And I just kind of, because it was early in the morning, I just said she's crazy. Because if you look at the left's response to Islamic supremacists, it is literally so far out of touch with reality that it would be considered crazy if it was a personal behavior, because it is such a total denial of reality. And yet, this is groupthink writ large.
Hillary Clinton reacted to Donald Trump's comment about the Egyptian airliner, and she piled on yesterday. Let's listen.
When you run for president of the United States, the entire world is listening and watching. So when you say we're going to bar all Muslims, you are sending a message to the Muslim world. And you're also sending a message to the terrorists, because we now do have evidence. We have seen how Donald Trump is being used to essentially be a recruiter for more people to join the cause of terrorism.
Your reaction to that, Newt?
Well, it's 15 years since the attack of 9/11. It is 37 years since the religious fanatics took over the Iranian government and then seized the American embassy illegally. And in those 37 years, people on the left, like Hillary Clinton, have lied and lied and lied and lied about the problem. The problem is not Donald Trump. The problem at Benghazi was not a film done by some nutcake. The problem is that there are people around the world who want to destroy our civilization. They are quite serious about it. They don't need Donald Trump or anybody else to incite them. Donald Trump did not incite the Ayatollah Khomeini in 1979. Donald Trump did not incite bin Laden when he bombed 2 American embassies under Bill Clinton and nothing was done, or he bombed the U.S. coal and under Bill Clinton and nothing was done. Donald Trump had not aroused Al-Qaeda to destroy the World Trade Center and bomb and then fly a plane into the Pentagon. But people like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and John Kerry are congenitally incapable of being in touch with reality when it comes to the issue of Islamic supremacists. This administration has an unbelievably terrible record of appeasing and covering up for and protecting people who want to destroy American civilization, and it is astonishing. And she's back at it again.
Yeah, and this all occurred. Much of this decline in our standing in the world, of course, occurred under her stewardship with Barack Obama. The decline in the economy, it obviously was in trouble under Bush. Was not resurrected under Obama, and now the decline in our standing in the world, our influence, our relationship with China. They're now threatening us essentially because they think we're so weak, and so this is all Trump's fault. I mean, it's just preposterous.
Well, I mean, and think of it this way. She was just plain wrong about her policy in Libya. You have absolute proof of it. You can see it now. We replaced Gaddafi, who was a dictator, but who had given up his chemical weapons, had tried to comply with what he thought the rules of the game were, and who was suppressing the terrorists. So we replaced Gaddafi with chaos. And the result is that ISIS now has a huge presence in Libya. Her policies towards Russia totally collapsed. They occupied Crimea. They took over the eastern third of Ukraine. They now have forces in Syria. So her reset was a disaster. She has no capacity to tell the truth about radical Islam, and she's always blaming somebody other than the Islamic supremacists. They are after us, and they try to kill us because they are engaged in a long-term war with Western civilization, and she cannot say that. She's going to describe that as homophobia, as Islamophobia, because everything on the left is a phobia. They cannot debate in an honest way any of the major issues of our time.
We're talking to Newt Gingrich here on the Laura Ingraham Show. So many people have asked you about the vice presidency and whether you would accept the position. I know you've said, of course, you when someone asks you that question, I imagine you would accept it. Are there any conditions under which you would not accept it if asked by Donald Trump? No,
look, Trump was on Morning Joe and Fox and Friends this morning. He was very flattering on both about our friendship and about the degree to which I try to help them with ideas and all that. And I think he's an extraordinary figure who may well turn out to be historic in a very big way. What Callista and I have said is that we both would be prepared to sit down and talk about it, but we're not prepared to automatically jump into it. As you know, we just launched a new book, Rediscovering God in America, about a walking tour of Washington. And we are tonight having a premiere at Mount Vernon of a new movie on George Washington. So we're doing a lot of different things. We're enjoying life. There obviously, if the country called and if the potential president called, you'd have to sit down and take it seriously, and you'd want to know what the job would entail. If it entailed a serious partnership in the way that Cheney had a relationship with George W. Bush, then you'd have to say yes. If it involved being patted in the head and sent off to funerals, well, maybe not. I think you'd really want to talk through. What does Trump think he wants in a vice president?
And you haven't had that conversation yet.
Not 1 minute, and I don't expect to. And first of all, I don't expect to be chosen. I think there are a lot of competent people, but I also respect the fact that he has said that he doesn't want to make that decision until basically just before the convention, and he wants the suspense to build and all that stuff. which is fine with me. We're frankly staying very busy doing things.
Of course
So I don't feel like I'm being neglected.
Yeah, in your documentary on George Washington, which premieres tonight at Mount Vernon, of course I was going to go, and then I forgot. I forgot. This sounds really great on my part. It's my son's birthday, so I can't.
Oh my!
I can't.
No, I think I'd focus on his birthday.
Yeah, he's 6 years old.
We'll get you the DVD. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. He's only 6. He's only 6 once, but.
That's right.
Give us a little taste of what you're doing.
Well, when people talk about Trump and Sanders as revolutionaries, this is really about the first great revolutionary. Washington is there at the beginning. He helps develop the concepts that lead to the Declaration of Independence. He leads the Revolutionary Army for 8 years. And in 8 long years, he spends only 2 weeks at Mount Vernon. He lays down his sword and goes back home as a citizen. King George III said if he actually gives up power, it would make him the greatest man in the world. And he did give up power. He then was called back to chair the Constitutional Convention, and his prestige got the Constitution adopted. And then he's called back again to be our first president for 8 years. So if you want to see a successful revolutionary, and you want to understand the principles that are at the heart of American success, that's why we made the first American, and we hope to get it into every school and to get people to realize that this is a guy really worth studying and really worth understanding, because he is the person on whom the rest of us stand. He is the guy who was had the moral character and the leadership abilities around which the entire revolution revolved. And
when challenged by Jefferson resigns and is going to run against George Washington. George Washington, Newt, remind us, does what?
Well, I mean, Jefferson only doesn't run against him because nobody can run against him. He's elected unanimously twice, the only person who's ever done that, and elected reluctantly. He puts together a cabinet of extraordinary people: Jefferson for Secretary of State, Hamilton for Secretary of Treasury. He holds it all together. And then he goes home. They try to get, they say, once you run for president, he said no.
Yeah, they say he could have stayed forever.
I am going home. Yeah. Right. And at that point, John Adams and Jefferson, again, end up in a race. Adams comes in first. Jefferson comes in second. Back then, that's how they picked the vice president, something they changed immediately because it didn't work very well. Jefferson invents the Democratic Party, which is the oldest political party in the world, in order to acquire power. And it's just a remarkable period in which the principles of self-government and the principles of American nationalism are established.
And Newt, did you see Hamilton, the musical?
No, I haven't seen it yet. Clifton, I want to go to New York.
Oh my gosh!
I understand it's fabulous.
Okay, first of all, you know what you have to do? You have to get the soundtrack, and you have to listen to the song "Washington on Your Side." And you just have to, you are going to love this soundtrack. It is so great for so many reasons. But it's even better to listen to the soundtrack before you see the actual show. Okay. So you're going to love it. But I can't wait. I can't wait to see your documentary. I'm so sorry I can't be there with all of our friends tonight. The first American. Newt Gingrich is you're a national treasure for what you do for our understanding and our historical perspective. And we just thank you and Callista so much. Thank you so much for joining us.
Glad you're doing it. Thanks.
All right. We'll take a break on the Laura Ingraham Show.